Welcome back, YouTubers, to a Raw review with us, the British Fist.
Gotcha.
Mr. Parkin here, none other than NJ sitting in this corner over here.
What's up?
Guess who needed a monster for this episode of Raw? Subscribe down below, comment your thoughts on the show, and like this video if you will.
And please make sure you contact us in the links in the description box below.
Indeed, this was a very talking point Raw. I think a lot of people will be talking about what happened between CM Punk and Undertaker, which we're going to save for our main talking point on this. But we just want to make you aware that on Friday, you are going to see a SmackDown review from us. We're going to review SmackDown for the first time in forever. We're going to do like a rundown style. We just thought, let's see what SmackDown offers us. And because there's not really been many talking points for the rundown lately, so we may as well do a SmackDown review and do it that way.
And number one, yes, we do realise that there are still fans that watch SmackDown, so we're going to give it another shot, see if we can get back to the swing of it. And if there are any talking points on non-pay-per-view weekends, we have a weekend to offer you that.
Yeah, and on the SmackDown review, we may even introduce some of the talking points that we've usually introduced in the British Fist Wrestling rundown that we would do on Friday. So that should be an interesting video. But right, for now on, we're going to talk about this week's edition of Raw, starting off with the in-ring action and booking. We had quite a lot of matches on this week's edition of Raw. I believe we had 11 matches in total as far as my calculations were going. The first match was between Big Show and Seth Rollins of The Shield. The match ended very quickly in a DQ. And to be honest with you, I was quite glad with this because there's no real need for The Shield to actually be in a match. They may as well just go in and attack Big Show and get DQ, to be honest.
I guess they're saving Big Show against other members for later times. Just get a simple match like this done. It follows on from the exclusive thing of last week. Makes sense. The best thing, I think, was the powerbomb at the end, which really got Big Show down. So a big thing for the Shield.
Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler was kind of filler. I mean, this is all about AJ and Beards. At least Dolph Ziggler got a win. These two were going to put on a good match all the time. So.
That's the thing. Even though Ziggler got a win, it did take him a few interferences from AJ there, from Langston, who obviously got the did the beatdown afterwards. But Ziggler getting a win is a win for him.
Tensai versus Fandango actually never happened. More about that later. Rose Scholars versus the New Age Outlaws. This got a DQ in a few minutes. Really looking forward to seeing this. I still hope we see it at some point.
I'm really glad that this did not finish up with a pinfall, because with this match and with New Age Outlaws, something you would want to see in a bigger stage, a bigger place. I'm glad that this match went down the way it did.
Mark Henry and Ryback both won their squash matches. Ryback beat Heath Slater, and Mark Henry beat Kofi Kingston.
Yes, again, they're still teasing what they can to make this match eventually happen.
Alberto Del Rio versus Cesaro. Del Rio gets the win. You know, Sin Cara beat Cesaro on SmackDown, and supposed to believe that Cesaro is going to beat Alberto Del Rio. Orton and Sheamus versus the Rhodes Scholars. No surprise to see the babyfaces win, as Rhodes Scholars really have no direction right now, it would seem.
The thing about Rhodes Scholars is that they've been in the ring with New Age Outlaws and now Orton and Sheamus. So you can see that there's something about this tag team that are reunited again.
Miz versus Jericho in the #1 contendership match for the Intercontinental Championship with Barrett on commentary. This ended up going to DQ, so no clean finish here. More about this in the next section of the video.
It's okay. The way they set it up, I'm like, okay, but the match, okay, it moves on to something else.
Jack Swagger faced Sin Cara this week. Right after Sin Cara beat Cesaro on SmackDown, he's doing a job to Jack Swagger, so inconsistent booking there, but Jack Swagger should win this, really.
Yeah, it's what you expect. Swagger as many wins as he can before WrestleMania.
I'm quite interested to see what they're going to be doing with the Fandango character. He's not debuting, kind of similar to how they did Damien Sandow, but I found the interaction between him and Tensai quite interesting. Two like dancing gimmicks. It makes a little bit of sense. I'm interested to see where they go with the Fandango character, even though I'm sure a lot of people in the YWC don't feel that way.
I look at Fandango, whatever his freaking name is. I look past this. Again, the thing that really picked on me is that he put all his attention not on his opponent, but it was Naomi, and again, break up the Funkadactyls, because Naomi out of the two is the diva of the two, but Fandango eventually wrestling. I just think if they make it wait too long, people are not going to care, and it's just not going to be the big build-up that WWE are hoping for.
You know, I guess WWE is trying to make his debut into kind of a big deal by having him not wrestle, kind of similar to how they did Damien Sandow. Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes mocking the New Age Outlaws is pretty hilarious, wasn't it? I'm still hoping that they could really make a good WrestleMania match out of this. A real good tag team WrestleMania match if they did it right.
The opening for this, when Sandow did the great mic work with Cody Rhodes, really doing their version of using proper language to the New Age Outlaws. Very funny indeed.
Really funny.
The thing that stood out for me, yes, that was comedy. It was when they said the reunited tag team, the best friends. I'm like, okay, why break up just to get back together about a week or two later? But again, they're hyping up becoming tag team champions, which I did say during while we were watching it. If they're going to swerve away from Bryan breaking up with Kane or whatever's going to happen, WrestleMania match could be Team Rose Scholars versus Team Hell No for the tag titles.
Maybe even put in New Age Outlaws in there, make it a triple threat match. That would be awesome. But anyway, the Bellas are back to save the Divas division. Yay!
And they join forces with Team Rose Scholars to give them some divas at the side.
To be honest, if I was Team Rose Scholars, I'd be enjoying that company. That's all I'm going to say. Right now, we're going to get onto some of the more serious feuds going into WrestleMania. Henry versus Ryback. You know, they basically had that who is more powerful contest when they were beating down Heath Slater. That gave me a lot of laugh because I fucking hate Heath Slater.
And then they do it to Drew McIntyre at the very end because obviously Drew McIntyre was the last one there. They just kept practicing, trying to who's the dominant one. Mark Henry really didn't want to say that Ryback is, so they're really teasing this very much for a SmackDown match.
Yeah, apparently they're going to face up on SmackDown, so we're going to get to watch this for free. Yeah! You know, why not build this match to WrestleMania and say this is the first time they're ever going to face off? Why have it on free TV? I just don't get it.
My big hope right here, I haven't read, there's no spoilers just yet, but I'm really, really hoping this ends like they just want to batter each other, just keep fighting, ding, 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 because they're just battering each other.
DQ. Yeah. Double DQ or something. Has to happen. Really has to happen on SmackDown. I'm hoping it does. Jericho's highlight reel. You know, this kind of was teasing an IC Championship feud, maybe with Miz, maybe with Jericho against Barrett. There was no equipment for Jericho's highlight reel, which was a bit strange.
The thing that they were, again, based off the movies stuff, which doesn't really represent wrestling, but when it cancelled it down, when Jericho stood in against Barrett, you could see the tension there. I thought, bam, that's what I want to see. Jericho putting over the guy who he actually kind of brought into wrestling by being his mentor, with Miz at the side to use his wrestling skill. I think this is definitely showing us what we could get at Mania.
I think Barrett versus Jericho would make a lot of sense, even though it is, you know, Jericho going after the IC belt that he's already run 9 times, you know, kind of. But we have this segment set up that match between Jericho and Miz, which ended in a DQ after Barrett took them out. Apparently, this is going to be a three-way setup for next week now, so hopefully they'll determine an IC title match between Barrett and Jericho from that match. Brad Maddox set up this match pretty awkwardly, didn't he, as well? I mean, the commentators didn't really help by keeping interrupting him.
I'm looking forward to the championship, the IC championship build, because we do need the mid-card build.
Yeah, we do.
Brad Maddox, I see this, and I think he just wants to be involved somehow in wrestling, so he cannot wrestle, so we thought, let's give him a power role, and he's not even doing a very good job there.
He wasn't very good on the mic, but that'll come with time. Swagger and Del Rio feud was hyped on this edition of Raw. Hopefully we'll see more of this on SmackDown along with the Shield stuff. We had those spoofs with Del Rio and Ricardo. When this was on, I couldn't help but think they looked like terrorists. I'm sorry, my overwhelming thought was that they looked like terrorists, and I'm sorry about that, but I just couldn't stop thinking that it looked like one of those terrorist videos.
And they're really doing their best. Again, I didn't really pay much attention to this. It was their mocking their move up to thing. They really stood out, moved past all that. I personally am still not fully behind this feud, even though I can see why they're doing it. The best thing is they actually finally touched Swagger and Del Rio in the ring, pounded each other. You
know, before they actually did get to that brawl, I believe Zeb Coulter did say a very relevant thing in his promo. He said that people are afraid to say something, and I think on these kind of subjects, that is very true. People are very scared to say stuff about this whole thing. What are you doing? You are scared to say, aren't you? But then Del Rio and Swagger finally have that brawl after the Sin Cara match. It was nice how they did the whole Zeb Coulter promo on Sin Cara, involved the Mexican guy, then have Del Rio come out to say that. So it's finally nice to see them brawl a little bit rather than have promo. We needed to see it at some point.
That's exactly what we need. We can name numerous other feuds that needed a fight in it. We've got it with this one. The World Heavyweight Championship is starting to seem semi-important now because they're doing more. I look forward to it continuing over the next few weeks.
Hopefully they'll ram up the build of this on SmackDown. The Shield versus Big Show, Sheamus and Orton. That seems to be a big feud going into WrestleMania now. Two separate segments here. The Shield managed to take out Big Show all on their own. They even managed to do that powerbomb to him, which was pretty freaking impressive. Seems like they're really singling out Roman Reigns as the kind of difference maker for the Shield. He keeps making these saves, spearing Big Show, etc.
I think that's the best thing. That's why I'm kind of glad they're saving him to face Big Show at a later date, because he's the big guy versus big guy like Mark Henry and Ryback. Big Show, and I think this is a good way of spacing it out before that big match happens.
And after the Sheamus Orton tag match in which they won, the Shield beat them down on the stage, but they didn't show it live on the show. They showed it via a WWE app. Now, really, I don't see the point of that. We still saw it on the show, but why not show it as part of Raw and not saying, well, this is part of the WWE app? I just don't understand.
It's a bit disappointing, but again, it still shows what happened. Got through Raw quite quickly last week, got us to this, so...
Shield end up on top on both segments, so good booking of a faction there. Rock and Cena, we only saw a video package this week. There was no Cena there in a big spot. There was no Rock there in a big spot. With them being in the main event at WrestleMania, I was really surprised they weren't really featured prominently. It was just one video package.
There was a video package. Oh, so I was too busy watching paint dry and grass grow.
Well, the preview video package, I will say, WWE generally does these video packages quite well. And while the premise of John Cena actually coming back and everything like that from this, whatever's been going on in his life, this whole redemption storyline, while that is still BS, I still thought this video package was very good. Triple H versus Lesnar. This was very interesting tonight. You had Lesnar taking out the New Age Outlaws, and then we have the whole promo segment where Paul Heyman says Brock will accept the match with Triple H if he gets to name the stipulations after Triple H signs the contract. That could be interesting. We're probably going to have a contract segment next week. I'm really interested to see what stipulation they're actually going to give this match.
I look at this, it was quite nicely done because we wanted something different to this one. And the fact they had New Age Outlaws taken out, I do think Mania, all the people that Brock Lesnar took out are going to be involved somehow to help Triple H probably win at Mania or something. But as for this contract thing, we both got different ideas. We spoke about this. What I wanted from SummerSlam was when Triple H just signed the contract without reading it, I thought Heyman could have simply put in there, you give the company back over to me. But if that happens this time, I guess the feud will continue after Mania, which fans don't really want to see continue.
Do you know what I think should happen? I really think they should play to Brock Lesnar's strengths here in this and have a damn MMA match. I really think they should make this feel like one of those big MMA real fight feels. As let's face it, you've got Brock Lesnar who's big at drawing in guys, viewers from the UFC audience. So why not do like a big MMA style fight? And that could bring in a different audience to the show. That's what I feel they should do, but I don't feel they will do that. But more on that next week, though. So the main talking point of the evening really does have to go down to WWE remembering Paul Bearer and the inclusion of him in the CM Punk and Undertaker angle. Before we go into what happened between CM Punk and Undertaker setting up their WrestleMania match, they played these video packages of Paul Bearer all through the night. What is your best memory of Paul Bearer? And I'd like to put that out to you guys out there as well. What is your best memory of Paul Bearer? Rest in peace, brother.
After watching Kane's DVD, The Third Twisted Kane, the thing that really stood out was Kane's debut and how Paul Bearer was the one who said, your brother's still alive, and they built that up and brought him to the Hell in a Cell. That was one of my favourites.
That is my favourite memory as well, when Paul Bearer introduced Kane in 1997. Another favourite moment of mine that involved Paul Bearer is when Taker returned at WrestleMania 20 in the way that he did, and the look on Kane's face when his brother came back from the dead. So there we go. So what is your favourite memory of Paul Bearer? Please let us know. We'll talk now about CM Punk and Undertaker, and I believe a lot of people will have thoughts on how they used Paul Bearer here. We'll talk quickly about what happened first and go on to that. This was the opener and the main event for 2 weeks now, so Rock and Cena is going to be the main event, but CM Punk and Undertaker has been the opener and main event for 2 weeks in a row. Jesus.
I think with this, obviously, there's still, in my opinion, they're trying to still make Punk feel important. Yes, he's out the title picture. But we still don't want Punk to slip down So we're going to give him all these main event, all these important stuff on Raw, building up to Mania, while John Cena and Rock is still going to headline Mania no matter what now.
And that is good. It's good to see that they're still seeing CM Punk as an important part of the programming. You kind of knew going into Raw that WWE were probably going to use this real-life death to actually draw some heat on Punk, and there was going to be a lot of thoughts on that. Talk quickly about the opener. You opened with Taker and Paul Bearer's urn in the middle of the ring. Kind of like did a tribute to that. And then out comes CM Punk to say the streak is going to end and that Paul Bearer won't know it because he's obviously rested in peace. Then Kane come out and confronted Punk via the WWE app, setting our match up for later on in the evening. Your thoughts on the way WWE opened this show?
Number one, I think maybe they weren't thinking this when they planned this, but when CM Punk used King's attack thing, he went quite heavily. It wasn't as heavy as that. So I think maybe they learnt their lesson, did it in a more lighter way. The Kane thing, I'm going to forget about the app because the fact is, I got to see the old Kane and the fact they're using Kane. Yes, you can say, oh, we've seen this match, but they made this match for the right reason.
Yeah, and it made a lot of sense. I mean, you know, Kane was an affiliate of, you know, Paul Bearer, who was his manager for some time. So logically, Kane would be angry at CM Punk for doing what he did there. So that actually made sense. That actually led us on to our main event match. You had Kane coming out carrying the urn, and he manages to beat CM Punk with a distraction from Undertaker's bell. You know, what do you think having Kane beat Punk here was really the best idea? Considering the fact that, you know, you've got a big WrestleMania match coming up with Punk and Undertaker, and you want to make Punk seem as, you know, good as possible. Was this the right choice, really? I just question that.
I really felt the way they did this, the fact they've still got weeks to go, the fact that this Raw was obviously paying a lot of tribute to Paul Bearer. I think they could either had a double chokeslam to Punk from Taker and Kane, or a Kane win. I think giving the win to the Kane and Taker family was the best choice because Punk still has weeks to get his revenge and pay back and grow to Mania.
Given the storyline involved and given the Paul Bearer situation, yeah, I think this was the correct choice. Yes, I do believe it was. And then you had Kane and Taker doing that tribute to Paul Bearer afterwards, only for CM Punk to come in and hit Kane with the urn. This leads to Undertaker coming down to the ring and CM Punk in traditional WWE cowardly heel style fleeing from Undertaker. What did you think about the way they used the urn in this segment? Do you think it's helped the feud? Do you think it's added more heat to this? Or do you think this is a little bit tasteless?
I quite was fine with, let's say, Punk they knocked out and the brothers there together for the finish. Adding this, I don't think, either way worked for me, I'm going to say. Punk going away with the urn, even though I would have probably had the brothers eventually chase him away or something so they can feel more important to the urn. But I didn't really mind the finish.
No, I mean, I had no real issues with the urn, mainly because, you know, Paul Bearer's ashes weren't actually in that urn, and it was representative of Paul Bearer. It wasn't actually Paul Bearer, whereas before they actually used, you know, Jerry Lawler and his heart attack as a way of getting heat. So, you know, so I felt this main event, this has actually added a little bit of heat to this match. Not only is it now the Streak versus CM Punk, who's the best in the world, you're now adding this whole Paul Bearer thing, you know, CM Punk taking the urn, etc. So I think that's added a little bit more to this match, which I feel it didn't necessarily need, but I feel has definitely helped this big match going forward to WrestleMania.
I'm quite happy with the way that this whole main event went down. Yes, nearer towards Mania, it's going to swerve the Punk Rock like it would do. But for this Raw, I feel this was a huge improvement to last week for my enjoyment of the show. And the finish just really set the bar up for this main event.
And I guess your enjoyment of the show was helped by the fact that John Cena wasn't there this week, along with The Rock.
Oh, they weren't, were they?
No, I guess you didn't notice. So let us know how you felt about how WWE used Paul Bearer in the storyline. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of conflicting views about this down in the comments section. But let us know your thoughts on the show itself also down in the comments section below. And from me, Mr. Parkin, here with my lovely soccer stress ball, and this guy, NJ. Instead of saying goodbye this week, all we're going to do is say, Paul Bearer, rest in peace.